My name is James Thayer. I am auditioning for Starlight's End. And I'd like to work with you to bring you a imaginative mind on where this is going. And I'm just going to be giving you just a very generic vocal style with reading a book. Not like a mundane book, but it's going to be a book. That's going to be awesome. Start of audition. Kes assumed his fighting stance and steadied his feet. Naya and Ryak did the same, following his lead. Don't hold back. Kes raised his lit blade to block not one but two axes, aiming for his head. He pushed them away, with an ease he had not felt for the first time he engaged with these projections. He locked his grip on the hilt of his sword and doled out a sense of rhythmic strikes. Each swing was a killing blow. The number of his enemies became a distant thought. He struck all that was in his path. Behind and beside him, Ryak and Naya fought too. He could see their starlight pulsing, but their echoes were stained in the battle. Their red and yellow-skinned adversaries continued to fall at the end of his blade. Kes filled each strike with a stronger pulse of starlight than the one before. The pulsing replaced his heartbeat until it was only the sound. The pulsing replaced his heartbeat until it was the only sound in his ears. Time fell away from his mind. He never felt disconnected, but it felt good. No, not just good. It felt right. So much so, he lost himself in any concept of time within it. Kes, you can stop now. Naya's armored hand rested on his shoulder. The training is over. Kes's breathing slowed again, and his awareness snapped back to the present. The ground where he had just slain the mystic warriors was littered with fragments of metal that once made up the training robots. After a few seconds, the pieces shook and reformed into their proper arrangement. Evan had designed them with magnetic charge. Evan had designed them with a magnetic charge so that they could reassemble like this. Well done, Kes, Evan said as he and Arya climbed the hill from the tree line where they had been hiding. You've done your friends well. Evan and Arya wore green, purple Mendo armors, respectively. Evan's bushy graying hair and beard were a sharp contrast to Arya's well-kempt and regal appearance. Both matured radiants were of even height with Naya and a full head shorter than Kes and Ryak. Thank you, sir, Kes said, calling the starlight back into his body. He strapped a Mendo sword to his back and moved to stand with Ryak and Naya. Evan and Arya always gave them a post-training breakdown. Today, it seemed like he would not be the focus of their correction. Ryak and Naya, do you know where Kes succeeded? Evan asked once he reached the same ground level as the trio. He figured out your game, Ryak replied. If that had been an actual fight, it would have ended a lot sooner. And you think that was the purpose? Arya asked. It doesn't matter if it was, Ryak said, his sword still clenched in his fist. And you set the rules to be whatever you want here. But in a real fight, it doesn't work that way. An enemy of that size and strength wouldn't stand a chance against any of us. Ryak finally returned his blade to his back. We all could have taken all three on our own if we had to. No matter what your purpose, it was a bad test. Kess and Naya exchanged a knowing look. This wasn't the first time Ryak had challenged their masters. The hardest part about this challenge was that he was actually right. If it had been a real battle, any of them could have easily cut through those opponents. But that was never the point. Radiant training was about learning and refining their skills, not just winning a fight. Repeatedly, Ryak struggled to understand that. Kess mused. Maybe he was just ignorant of his ways. But it also might be because he found no value in these lessons. Ryak was a force to be reckoned with, in the field, on his missions. Ryak was a force to be reckoned with, in the field, on missions. Ryak was a force to be reckoned with, in the field and on missions. Kess would have been lying if he had. Kess would be lying if he didn't admit that. Ryak's bullishness and brute strength saved his skin a few times. That was the case for all of them. Wasting time like this only holds us back, he continued. What does it hold you back from? Evan questioned. Getting stronger by learning to go beyond what we already know about the Starlight. Ryak answered with a wave of his arm. You said yourselves that Radiants have always worn Mendo armor. Well, what if we didn't? What if we learned to harness our power without it? You know what would happen, Ryak? Arya answered. Our Mendo armor helps us control the Starlight. Through it, we can focus our strength. Without this armor, the power of raw Starlight is too much for any of us to survive. Maybe that's what's written in your ancient books. But have either of you ever tried? Ryak shrugged his wide shoulders. Ryak, now isn't the time to start this argument, Naya protested. Your debate has nothing to do with our training today. There is obviously a lesson we both need to learn, and I would like you to know what it was. Ryak moved again to protest, but was kept silent by the unwavering stance of Evan and Arya. Ryak, you failed because you thought you could strong-arm your way around your objective, and Naya fell short because she tried to outsmart it, Evan said, and turned to face Ryak. The lesson was meant to demonstrate our resilience on the Starlight. Ordinary warriors are no match for you. They will never be. They never will be. But that's not what we fight. For Radiant, it's about the force our enemies bring against us, Arya said. For us, it's about how well we control the power that bring. For us, it's about how well we control the power we bring against them. Strength and cunning will fail you. The Starlight will not. There will come a time when you need to harness a power for all you can, Evan added. The Starlight was silent for over 100 years before you three were born. Out of all the beings in the galaxy, it chose you. There must be a reason for that. For 20 years, we've been left to wonder what that reason is, until now. Evan held a long pause and looked at each student with intent. He ended with Kess. Arya and I have felt unease growing in our connection to the Starlight. There are whispers among the star waves of a coming darkness. We search down every pathway for signs of this threat, but it remains faceless and out of our view. If the warnings are true, we fear this evil will soon emerge, and we may be the galaxy's only hope of defeating it, Arya said. When the time comes, you will need to rely on the Starlight. On that day, Evan said with his green eyes unwavering. You may find that it's all you have. Thank you very much for reading. Thank you very much for listening to my edition. I hope you have a great day. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. I am open to criticism, and I would love to speak further on any other things that you may have available. Thank you, and have yourself a great day.